Thanks to those joining me live and those of you joining us here on the archive. This is D Stout. I'll be joined by the one and only Christine. We are in the ring with Christine, by the way. And of course, we have the
Absolutely.
one and only Lukey from
Yes,
Lukey
sir.
Boxing, the biggest dog of them all. Because it's not the size of the dog in the fights, it's the size of the fight in the dog. All
Or
right.
the
Facts.
bald spot.
We don't look at
Yeah,
that. We don't that yeah, we don't care about that.
it's all good. I'm almost there. Just give me like 3 more years. Um, so let's talk about this Haney fight. He's going to be fighting Ryan Garcia, but before we get there, this was a fight in the making with all these plot twists, and it was official. They were working on it. Ryan went on a jog with Floyd and changed his mind, and then he said, "No, it's going to be Ryan versus Raleigh." Floyd even posted a picture of Ryan versus Raleigh. Ryan told everyone the fight's on, and then they swerved Ryan and they announced Cruz versus against Raleigh Romero on the undercard of Zoo versus Thurman. So
Hmm.
that didn't happen. Leonard Allerby tells everybody, he got a shitty deal. Raleigh confirms that, but recently, just recently, Raleigh comes out and says, "Why you guys criticizing me? I took less money to be in a tougher fight." Okay, well, I guess you turned down. How was the other one a shitty deal? It was worth more money. I don't know, but
For yeah.
I don't know what that's about. And here we are, right? We are now. Ryan had to go back, and they make the fight. The other fights were rumored. Ramirez was rumored, and all these other fights rumored. None of them panned through, and all of this just to come back around, and we now have Haney versus Garcia, right? Lukey, let's start with you since you're a guest here today. What do you make of all this plot twist? And are you surprised that this fight got done after all the plot twists in the last few weeks?
Um, I mean, I mostly keep up with the plot twist with you guys, so like I haven't been like following it as much. It feels like with Ryan Garcia, there's more soap opera stuff than any other boxer because he kind of in real time shares too much. He overshares. But I mean, it's a fight, and it did get done. I'm glad to see like big names in the sport getting fight dates is kind of my big
Mhm.
takeaway because we look at like Boots Ennis is suing another person again. Canelo, we hope returns in May. We're hoping to see that. And it's like a theme of boxing is Tank
Mhm.
Davis isn't fighting yet. So I think that for me, I'm a little bit relieved that like big relevant fighters are getting big opportunities because that's what, as a fight fan, right? I want to see fighters that move the needle and get channels like this and my channel excited because that's how
Mhm.
we get the sport relevant, right? So I wouldn't say I was shocked, more than relieved that relevant fighters are fighting.
Okay, all right. Christine, are you surprised after all these plot twists? Here we are.
No, and I think with the news today with, Raleigh talking about yeah, I took the harder fight with the lesser money. I think I don't know if he has a PR person or he has anybody like guiding him. I think those are things that are probably said behind the scenes, at the big desk when they're like talking about what's going to happen and how things are going to happen. So I hate, Raleigh is he's funny. He's comical. And I think part of it is just because that's who he is. But you have to like question his thought process. So I thought it was very funny that he said that. Haney Garcia, um, that's a good fight. That's a good matchup. People doubt Garcia. They want to know what he's really made of. Is he just a underwear model or a tequila selling whatever? I've said before, I think he should just be on Disney. Is he the real deal?
What about
Or is
bottles
he
in the
just
underwear?
I no comment about that. I don't know. But Haney has proven himself to me. Not that he needed to. but I think that nobody beats him in the near future or even the far future. So I think this is a good matchup because we're going to finally see what, I mean, obviously we saw Tank, dismantle Garcia, but I think that this will be the test to see whether or not Garcia should stay here or he should call Disney, and see what's up with that.
And I'm gonna say this before we talk. It's a lot to talk about the fight. We'll get into it, but let me just say this: it's it's a fight. Like this is just my opinion. I don't think this is a good fight on paper. I don't. I don't know one person that's gonna pick Ryan Garcia, right? However, I have like even though it came full circle and he had to do this fight anyway because the other fights fell through. I still got to give Ryan some credit for stepping in the ring with Devin Haney. I think he's going to be a massive underdog.
Absolutely.
Stylistically, yeah, I don't think it's a good fight for him, and for that
Hmm.
reason, I got to give him credit for stepping in that ring.
Absolutely. Anybody that steps in the ring to get credit. Like, seriously, this is life or death. People don't understand that. Yeah, they all get credit.
Yeah, that's for sure. So I just got to say this. With all that said, I just wanted to say that to say the following, and you guys could jump in and let me know. What do you think? I don't. This is the personal preference of mine. I don't like the fight. I don't.
Why? Why? Is it going to be
This
a snooze fest? Or
because
is it going to be totally one sided?
I'll give you
Like,
a quick answer.
yes.
Because I like competitive fights.
Okay. Okay.
So
Lukey,
I'm gonna ask.
to Garcia's fans, is this competitive? Because
I
he has
mean,
his
but
fan base too.
that's like saying to Katy Perry's fans, is she the best musician of her era? Like, I mean, I think
Mhm.
what this, and I agree with D Styles. I think what this fight is it serves two purposes. It's a big event fight, right? But Devin has a huge advantage in terms of experience and the skill sets he possesses. Ryan has some critical flaws from a technical standpoint. And I
Absolutely.
talked about this on your podcast, Christine. Growth
Yes.
mindset. Ryan isn't showing me like Teofimo Lopez. They're not showing me the ability to basically be accountable. And I think that's part of growing as an individual and becoming a better fighter. When we look at legends, the growth mindset's a huge thing. But I think the point of this fight is, and I'm rambling, but the point of the fight is Ryan Garcia's fans are going to believe he's going to beat Devin Haney. And Tank Davis fought Ryan Garcia. So then here's a comparison of how Devin does against
Mm.
Tank's biggest fight. And that's kind of the appeal is there's going to be a lot of fans who are in to see this. I think Ryan Garcia is now becoming the new Amir Khan, where he's a better businessman than maybe a fighter. He's going to get himself a lot of opportunities on big platforms. But the thing with Ryan is, does he even care about being a world champion? It seems like now he's just kind of looking at big opportunities.
Yeah, and then so that leads to another point. So, yes, so Ryan has his fan base, and yes, he lost the Tank, so there's more eyes on him. And so as a promoter, you're salivating because this fight, this matchup is going to sell a lot of tickets. And I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. It's is it going to be pay-per-view? Do you saw, I don't
They haven't. I haven't seen anything.
I haven't
I
seen
know
that either.
they've announced that it's going to be on the Zone worldwide, but
Okay.
whether it's pay per view or not, I have no idea. I'm
I think
assuming
it is.
yes, but that's an assumption.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
assuming yes too. So there's the point. So boxing has always been a business, but it is even more so today because of Ryan's fan base, because of now Haney, after his last win and what he's been doing, we've got those fans. And then, Tank beat him, and then we've got those guys, and now they're gonna measure him. Like actually they're measuring Tank. Like, okay, so let's see what Haney does. We saw what Tank did, and then let's go from there. So I think it's more honestly, which is fine, whatever, business, you know. So that's why it's going to be huge. That's why it's going to sell. That's why the gate, the pay-per-view and everything else is going to be huge, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
I'll say this: I think this is a fight where both guys, each guy, I should say, has something that the other wants, right?
Mhm.
I think Ryan Garcia is looking for legitimacy in the sport and a win, or even putting up a good fight against Devin
But is
Haney.
he though? Is he?
I believe he is, or he wouldn't have taken this
Okay.
fight, in my opinion. But
Okay.
I think that's what he's looking for. Um, and Haney already has that, but I think Haney's looking for that big blockbuster fight that he hasn't had yet. Whether it happens here, I'm not sure. We'll dive into that, but that's what he's looking for, and I think he believes he's gonna get that with Ryan, which is why he's so adamant for this fight. They pushed hard to make this fight happen. So, and here we are, right? This is
Here we
Ryan
are.
Garcia's opportunity to become a world champion, something he's never been, right? This is an opportunity, a win over Haney, or even putting up a good fight against Haney. In the eyes of many, they'll see him as a more legitimate fighter. That way, Christine isn't asking, does he want legitimacy? Well, if he puts up a great fight, he could show that he does want legitimacy. But that's what I think. What do you think, Loki? Uh-oh.
I think you're
Lukey's
muted.
struggling with tabs. So Lukey got TKO'd by tabs.
That's
I
right.
think that you guys are making points for me. I think that that's a great point, D Styles, that they both kind of want what the other one has. I think Devin wants a huge fan base. He does have a fan base, but he wants kind of like the Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia reminds me of like the Beatles. I remember I went with Victor Conti and Bruno Escalante to a gym in LA about 6 years ago. And like Victor was talking to me, he's like, this is like what the Beatles were like, because he's in there doing a media workout and he's like, should I crowd surf? And it was like all girls and teenagers and stuff. And they're growing up. I think the thing with Ryan Garcia is his fans are growing up with him. And
Yes.
that's like an organic relationship where they're just going to stay with him, win or lose, because they've
Hmm.
spent their childhood with him and they want to
Yes.
see how the story unfolds. I think Devin has the legitimate respect amongst the fight fans, but he doesn't kind of have that same following, even though he kind of took a similar route and no one talks about it. He did the
Hmm.
YouTube thing. He was kind of like a Justin Bieber type figure on YouTube. Yet Ryan kind of emerged as like the guy that became the social media boxer.
Hmm. Hmm.
No,
That's true. That's true. And I agree. I think that they both. Well, I don't know. I think Devin wants the social media audience and platform, that Ryan has, but I don't even know. I just don't believe that Ryan is so gung ho about being this
mm.
mega boxing superstar. I just don't. I don't see it. I don't
Let me
know.
add to that,
Maybe I'm
Christine,
wrong.
and be rude. What I see is I don't see Ryan Garcia. There's that thumbs up. I
I
don't
don't
think
get it.
Ryan Garcia wants to win a world title unless it's convenient or it makes a lot of money. And that's what I'm hearing from you
Yes.
is I just
Yes.
think Ryan Garcia wants to be like a musician or an entertainer
Yes.
who takes huge events, gets paid a lot of money, but I don't see him wanting to take fights that are kind of boxing matches, a lot of Oscar Duarte fights. I don't see him wanting to fight a Floyd Schofield. It's like he wants to strategically pick certain fights, but he doesn't necessarily want to challenge. Like, do you see him fighting William Zepeda anytime soon? Of course
Yeah,
not.
no, no. Yeah, that's exactly my point. I
Yeah.
see that one wants what the other has, but not necessarily the other wants what the other has. Like, it's too much work. It's too hard. It's too much sacrifice. And I believe that Haney is willing to do, and we've seen that he's willing to do what he needs to do, but I don't believe that Garcia is. He's a great kid. He's very nice. I've met him a few times. Very respectable, but I don't see that passion and that fire. I think he just wants to stay in the public eye however way he can, in my opinion.
So I do agree that perhaps he's it's yet to be seen or not, but perhaps he's not willing to put in the work that it takes to be a great fighter. Like Devin Haney's put in the work. I
Yeah.
do agree with that. That's the sense I get in a way. But I do think he wants, if you want to call it the clout, the whatever recognition, like maybe he doesn't want to put in the work or doesn't realize the amount of work he has to put in for it. But I do think he wants to be a world champion. I do think he wants people to say he's a great fighter. I do think he wants that. Um,
But okay, well look. Let's ask this question. I'm gonna go deeper, and maybe I'm
sure.
like way left field.
That's why
Okay,
we're here. Let's go.
he's changed trainers so many times. He went with Derek James. Okay, Derek James had
Mhm,
EJ, and then AJ went with him too.
mhm.
So did he pick him because of what he's done, or what he thinks he's done, or who he has? Like, and then at the time that he did go, AJ had a poor performance. We know that EJ did too. um and maybe he's thinking, I don't know, what did I do? But Charlo, same. So is he going after the trainers that were in the spotlight at the time because he believed in them, or because
Hmm.
they were in the spotlight at the time?
Well, I mean, he's choosing trainers, in my opinion, based on the social media profile that it's going to benefit him. So it's like he's going
At the time.
to people that are going to build the Ryan Garcia brand. And I think that's where the
Absolutely.
criticism comes.
So I think he's trying to
That's my
manufacture
point.
his way and not necessarily work his way to becoming a world champion and people seeing him as an elite fighter. But I do think he wants it. Like like you know what I mean. Like there's that old saying, like some people want it, some people want it. Like maybe he
Does he
doesn't
want it if he happens to stumble on it? Or does he want it
exactly.
because he just fucking wants it and he's going to get it no matter what?
I think he wants to manufacture it. Like he
Okay.
you know what I mean. I think that's what he's trying to do. But I still remember the Ryan that got the win over Campbell when it was over in Reynoso, and what that win meant for him, and he got it really emotional. Like he's still that kid that picked up a pair of gloves and decided to do it. He's still that kid that had
Sure.
an amateur career. He's still like there's
Absolutely.
still like I think he's still there somewhere. Like that kid has to be there some that like there has to be some form of competitor spirit in
Well,
him to
aren't
some
we all
degree.
there somewhere in our hopes and dreams, but then other things come into play and we have bills to pay and we have things that we want to do in our lives? Like, I mean, we're all there somewhere, but other forces come in and then we just kind of sway and we go where we need to go to do what we want to do. Like, he's human, and it's okay. It's
Sure.
okay. He can still do it right now.
You're not lying. You know what I mean? But
I'm just saying, no criticism to him. I mean, he's doing what he has to do.
I
so
mean,
is
he's
this a new thing now then? Because you see, growing up, I looked at boxers as these gladiators, these guys that want to take on all comers, and those are the guys I grew up watching. From the Chavezes, even De La Hoya, like there was a competitive spirit there, and they were going for legacy. Is this type of thinking that we see from a Ryan Garcia going to become more of a norm? Like guys coming into the sport are naturally talented, but they're not really searching for legacy, but more so like maybe social media fame or something like that. It's like a new thing now.
Lukey, you go first, and then I'll answer after you.
I mean, I think that like Ryan, I'm gonna answer however I feel like, but I'm sure that's fine. Ryan is a social media person, and I think that he's like the Luke Campbell fight to me was like, okay, he turned the corner, he's a fighter, and then we saw a large period of inactivity. And that was not what I wanted to see. It's like the hardest fight of
Yeah.
his career led to him taking a long time away from the sport, and him asking more questions than giving us answers. And it really feels as though like I get nervous when fighters start talking about retirement in their 20s, because that tells me they're already looking to leave the sport. Like Jared Anderson, that's the biggest concern. I love his
Yeah.
skills, but the
Yeah.
fact that he's so open at an early age about not wanting to box for a long period of time,
Yeah.
tells me that like maybe being an accountant might work better for you.
Hmm.
Because though there's a lot of money in this sport, the sacrifice, the depression, the loneliness that comes with this, and the type of, I think this is the scariest thing to me, the type of person you end up facing at the highest level, that psychotic level of drive, the Terrence Crawford, the Inouye, the Usyk, it's just not worth it if you get to that point, because the
Yeah.
person you're getting in there with is the scariest person alive. And maybe it's unfair because of how famous Garcia is, but I compare him to the greats, even though he hasn't shown to be great because of his profile on social platforms. So
Right.
because he's such a big ticket seller, I'm going to
Hmm.
compare you more to Terrence Crawford than maybe the developmental fighter, or even like an Edgar Berlanga that's more fair, just because you're now being put in a spot where you're headlining pay-per-views similar to these other fighters. And
Yeah.
I think that's what's hard from my perspective, is to separate, because for me, money is the separation. The more you get
Absolutely.
paid, the more criticism comes.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. There was a comment, I don't see where it is, but something about, is this the new way, or is this how it's going to be? And I think you said that too, D style. I mean, I think that there's going to, it's going to be 50-50. There are those that want all the fame. I mean, think about it. Like, there are so many amateurs that they, only go so far, or they go, like, the United States is guilty of, we go to one Olympic event, except for Clarissa Shields. She won 2 gold medals. But usually it's like, we are known, our reputation is, we go to the Olympics, we medal or we don't, and then we go pro. It's like, everybody looks at the Floyd Mayweathers, the Muhammad Ali, and others that have gotten the fame, gotten the money, and they want to be like that. So it's 50-50. They they want both, which is fine. But there are very few, or there's 50% that are like, you know what? No, I want to fight the toughest fights. I don't care about social media. I don't care about this and that. I just want to be the king of the hill. Well, now in this day and age, it's kind of hard just to do that and be that, because promoters, they make money off of whoever's watching you, and they're going to sign you depending on how much money they're going to make, obviously. And how do they make the money? Well, who's the biggest star? So that it, I don't want to like be negative, but do we really care to see Ryan Garcia next, next fighting Haney, or would we rather him fight somebody else? But because Garcia has a big social media platform, I believe that that's why we're seeing him. I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to be negative, but I mean, am I lying? Would we rather see him fight somebody else, more
Oh,
competitive, our boxing heads?
Well, I mean, the thing is, Ryan does numbers, Ryan does ticket sales, Ryan does streaming, but Ryan for us is unproven. So for the hardcore fight fan, I don't think anyone's going to go, I wonder what the outcome is. It's going to be, how is Devin going to look in this fight? But
Yes.
sadly, boxing is struggling on network television. Teofimo did
Yeah.
500,000 viewers in a primetime spot. We're moving away, like as we've talked about, we're moving away from being viewed as a great commercial sport that money can be put into. So guys like
Yeah.
Ryan Garcia are going to get like way too many opportunities because they bring eyeballs in when other
Exactly.
fighters don't.
Yeah. I mean, look at Rolly. I mean, people are so entertained by his press conferences, little quirky things that he says. They want to see him. They want to see more of him. Do they really believe that he can beat, the top dogs? No, he can't. But he's entertaining, and I think that's where we're going. You know, I don't
so
know.
you believe, Christine, that Ryan, like, do you think he cares if he wins this fight? Is it like, is he going in
I,
there as do or die, or is he like,
I,
what? He just doesn't
I
care.
mean, I think he would like to win. I think it'd be great if he happened to just win, but is he But does he really care the way probably Haney does? I don't believe so. And I don't want to judge him or say what he's thinking because I don't know. But I am assuming that
So I
it'd be
guess
nice if he won, but
well, I don't know if you also saw the interview that he did in the Patrick B. David podcast, but on that interview, he had some criticisms of his own promoter, Oscar De La Hoya, as a fighter, and he said, Oscar, he wasn't focused. He lost all his big fights for that reason. Oscar never won his big fights. He says he's not really necessarily right about that, but that is the perception of Oscar. Um, I mean, if he's going to talk like that about Oscar De La Hoya,
right.
then I would assume he doesn't want to lose all his big fights.
Well, this is the thing. We can always point fingers, but what are we doing? What are you gonna do? You can
Mm.
criticize, you can say this and that. That's your promoter for however long, I don't know the contract, whatever. So while you're there, do whatever you got to do. If you criticize him because he did this and that, prove that you're better. Prove that people compared him to De La Hoya for on so many different platforms and everywhere. So prove you're better. Criticizing, to me, when you criticize, it just kind of shows a little bit of I don't know, weakness and excuses. So if you mess up or you do something wrong, well, but look at De La Hoya. you know
Mm.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Okay. Yeah, I just one thing about Ryan that is just me, rubs me the wrong way is the lack of accountability. Right? It's
Absolutely,
always
that's my
somebody
point.
else's fault. Right?
That's my point.
It's always I had a Judas in my camp. It's
Yeah.
always they set me up. It's
Mhm.
always
Mhm.
my promoter wants me to lose. That's what he was saying going
Yes.
into the Duarte fight. Like, why would they want you to lose, Ryan?
Right. They lose money. Like, why?
100%. So I could see him placing a lot of blame on his promoter, on Oscar De La Hoya, after he loses this fight. I could see that happening,
Yeah,
and
for
say it was a
sure.
setup or whatever it is. But
And why? Why? If I have a business, y'all have a business, why do you want to lose money? Like, it makes no sense. You have the people in place that you think are going to help you make more money. Why would you set them up to fail and then in the end you fail? Like, why? It makes no sense.
I don't know. Maybe Luki has the answer to the why.
Lukey, what's the answer?
I mean,
Maybe.
I mean, boxing, like, I like to believe I know business a little bit. Yet everything about boxing business makes no sense to me. And it starts with, like, here you have YouTube, right? That's a great consumer base. You can go on YouTube,
Yes.
listen to the consumer. And time again, we're given fights that the consumer doesn't want, right?
Yeah.
So with the boxing business, I never have the answers because it's like the one business where it's like the business model seems to be like, how can we just break even, as opposed to like, how can we put together some really big fights that make a lot of money and generate traction.
Yeah.
So I never know what to think.
I think that and I had seen the tweet today like about BLK Prime, like they got ahead of themselves and they paid before, they should have, and thinking they're gonna break even at the gate, or at least, whatever. So I think that a lot of times they do, want to break even, or think that they will, but that shouldn't be. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's interesting to me.
Well, I
It's
mean,
very
if
interesting to me.
if you do a boxing show, you need to think about scale, right? So it's like you shouldn't be like, if this is your first show, hypothetically speaking, and you don't have huge backing, doing a show with Terrence Crawford is probably not your best idea because you probably want to do it with a smaller fighter and see what the
Right.
problems are. And then
Right.
when you feel like you understand, oh, you need to do this, like, because like I'll give you an example. For most shows, one of the biggest stressful things is the airport pickup, because it's like
Mhm.
very rarely do you have like
Mm,
you're in that city. So it's like, let's say you're in
mhm.
Dallas, Fort Worth or whatever. What if the fight is like 30 minutes outside? So you have to
It
run a
usually
van
is.
from the airport to the
Yes.
hotel, and the flights don't just come in at one time, and people get
No.
mad. So it's like, for me, it's like there's all these like logistical things that are really annoying that break down shows.
Yes.
And I don't know, like a part of me just gets sick of Ryan Garcia because it's a lot of teen drama with him.
It
And the
is.
talent component doesn't ever match up. And like, say Devin beats him, we know something's wrong. Like it was like the worst day of his life or something bad
He had the
happened.
worst camp. He had it's going to be something, and that's the thing. That's the thing. There's going to be something. It's always somebody else's fault.
I mean, he said he had a Judas in his camp, and he understood how Jesus Christ felt. That's what he said in the podcast, by the way. I'm just thinking to myself, Ryan, maybe someone did tell Tank he had a bruised
Oh
rib,
my
but but
God.
but but Tank was going to find out anyway because he was touching you to the body anyway. Like,
He found out how Jesus Christ felt. Are you
he
serious?
alluded
I
to
have
it.
not seen that. Please,
He
please.
alluded to that. Patrick B. David, like he kind of said he couldn't relate. Like I'm just like, okay,
Okay.
Ryan, chill out.
Really?
But
Okay.
like he's watching feet now, says Nando. I guess he is.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a great comment from Mr. Lopez. Ryan has
Yes.
tons of people in his ear. He
Hubby.
does.
He does.
He
He does.
it's and he's so like, how are you dead set on a Devin Haney fight, and you go out on a jog with Floyd Mayweather, and they just change everything? Like,
Exactly.
what's going on?
Exactly. Well, and the thing is too, you have Derek James as your trainer. Well, Derek recently, lately, has not been looking real good. So Derek's like, okay, you need to look good in this fight. Like for me, you know, there's so
Oh.
many pressures. There's so many pressures. It's
Now,
yeah.
I want both of your opinions on Ryan. Speaking of that interview, and he said this before anyway,
I'm gonna
but
go back and watch it. I'm
he,
I'm
he,
I'm
he
laughing
actually
right now.
said that he likes Derek because Derek lets him be himself. He understands me more than Reynoso, more than he didn't call them
Uh,
bad trainers or anything. He just said they don't get him like Derek gets him. Is that
I
more like Derek gives him more leeway when these guys wouldn't give him leeway? Is that really what this is?
Lukey, you go first, and I'll go. I don't want to get in trouble.
Oh,
I mean, I think Derek's a good coach, and I think that I think the elite trait of Derek is he's a mellow dude. He's like a Phil Jackson, like how Phil Jackson could handle these big egos because he's like, I'm the Zen dude and I got this raspy voice. I think Derek, all of his guys show up in great shape, but I think that his trait is he can take these personalities most people can't work with. Like Jermel Charlo seems like a difficult person. Errol Spence doesn't seem like a difficult person, but it seems like
He's
there's a
not.
lot
Yeah.
that comes with that. Anthony Joshua, difficult person at times. Ryan Garcia, difficult person, and he's able to manage these egos. So I think that the problem with what happened with him is kind of like the problem that happened to Freddie Roach. Freddie had a lot of successful fighters, and what goes up comes down. And I think that for Ryan, every coach he has at the moment is the best coach, and every time he loses, it's because of the coach. So I don't think that anything Derek is doing is probably that much different than previous coaches. But at this time, when things are going good, it'll be the best. And when things go bad, Ryan will leave and say, oh man, we didn't do this, that, and the third. I'm a firm believer if this guy has multiple world champions, it's on the fighter to really set the tone of your camp. And, this guy's busy. So I don't know, but like in that gym, it's pretty obvious. Like it's going to be like the 49ers locker room last night. You go to Derek James's gym, there's going to be a sense a year ago, we were the coolest gym in boxing. Now no one's asking about us. So when Ryan goes into a fight like this, there's going to be a, hey man, like people are going to be making jokes, not just about you, but about me. If you look bad, bro.
Yep.
Well,
So this is my thing. Okay. whenever you go to a gym or you go to a coach, the coach is the coach. The coach is the boss. So a coach will look at your talents and will look at your flaws, and they will disguise your flaws, and they're not going to try to make you like um another model or prototype of what they've had before. They're gonna expound upon your talents. Okay. But I'm the motherfucking boss. Okay, you're not the boss. You came to me so I could help you get to where you need to be, or I could like take you further than where you've been. Okay. So, and I'm not saying this is Derek James. I'm saying a lot of times there are yes men. You get all this money, all this fame, all this. You don't want to lose it. You're the top dog. You want to stay the top dog. So you let, your boxers or whoever run the show, because you don't want them to say, you know what? I don't think I like working with you. That I don't think I want to work with you anymore because you're not letting me do what I want to do. No, you got to crack the whip. You got to crack the fucking whip. Derek James is very calm. He is. And like I said, I'm not speaking about just about him because I don't know. I haven't been there. But I just think a lot of coaches get intimidated when they get a champion, and then other champions want to go with them, and they're like, "Oh, well, I better fucking do what they want me to do, or else they might leave me." And then the money's not there, the clout's not there, the fame's not there, and I think that happens more often than we think. Like, I really do. You're the fucking coach, so they got to listen to you. I don't care who you are.
Man.
That's my little rant.
So let's switch over to Haney.
Okay.
Obviously, Devin Haney, still really young. Like, that's amazing. What is he? 24? How old is he again? 25?
I think he's like 23, 24. Yeah, he's young.
He's still very young, right?
Mhm.
And already he's been undisputed champion in lightweight. He's already a world champ, 2 division world champion. No, he just beat Regis Prograis. Prograis, love him, hate him, say whatever you want. Top 3, top 2 fighter in that weight class for years now, and he dominated Prograis, dropped him and everything. Great performance.
He made me a believer. He made me a believer.
Yeah, that was a great win. Before that,
Mhm.
right? Future Hall of Famer Vasyl Lomachenko.
Mhm.
Regardless of how you feel or how you scored it, close fight, competitive fight, really good fight, right? But still fought Lomachenko. And he went to Australia, had to fight Camoses twice because that was in a contract per rematch clause. And, he went over to Australia to took the belt and defended the belt over there again in foreign soil for him. So obviously he's gone through a little bit of a, if you want to call it a gauntlet. So a lot of people may say this is a gimme or an easy fight. Why doesn't Devin fight X, Y, and Z instead? Look, if anyone out there believes that this is an easy fight for Haney, and I believe it is, right? All I could say is that he's earned it. He's earned this fight. He's earned, if you want to call it a gimme, maybe not everybody will agree that it's a gimme, right? There's some danger with the left hook. It's not like he's just going to walk in there and just easily win. He still has to
And
get
we
it
know
done.
Ryan has power. He has power.
Yeah.
If you stand in front of him, he is very strong. We know
But
that.
he still is going to have to deal with a Cobra strike up until he doesn't, right? It is what it is. But if people want to call it a gimme, fine. But I think he's earned it at this point, quite frankly. That's what I think. What do you guys think?
I agree with you.
I mean,
I agree.
for Devin, it's like, I think that he said it in San Francisco. I was in like the, whatever they put it, the little press conference area. And it was actually a funny press conference because it's like a pay-per-view fight. And it was like a 15-minute press conference. Which normally press conferences are like 2.5 hours and super bad.
I didn't see you.
Yeah. So he basically said, I want legacy fights or big fights. This fits into the quote unquote big fight category, but like he basically was like, I only want fights that are legacy fights or big fights, and those are my only interests. So for Devin, he's staying on his mission state. Like, the thing I like about Devin is a lot of these young fighters kind of pick and choose, like politicians, when to move around. Devin's basically just saying, I'll either fight something that makes me a lot of money or I want a legacy fight. And fighting Ryan Garcia is a very profitable fight. It's Ryan Garcia is the lowest risk, highest reward fighter for superstar boxers.
Absolutely.
So everyone wants to fight him because I think every top fighter thinks it's an extremely winnable fight and they get paid a lot. So, I mean, I don't knock him on it. I just wish that we had a sport where, like, to fight a Devin Haney, there was like, okay, you have to accomplish something. It's not just like you're famous, go fight him.
Right. I agree with that too.
I mean, that's the sport we're in. You know, it's a business too, right? Whether we like it or not. And that this is definitely something that Haney's doing. And look, his father, I've heard him say this before. I don't know how true, like, I don't think it works this way necessarily, but this is how they think, or at least Bill. I've heard Bill say things like, we fought in ours, and after we beat him, we took all his fans. Right? That's how he thinks. After we fought so-and-so, we took all his fans. I think, like, in his, at least Bill, I don't know about Devin, but in Bill's mind, we're going to fight Ryan, and we're going to take all his fans. Right. And I think that's something that I think that's one of the reasons Bill especially wanted this fight. He thinks we're going to go in there, we're going to take Ryan's fans. And he's already kind of started the whole, I'm not a big fan of this, but he already started the whole going up to Mexican dudes and asking him, is Ryan Raza? And they're saying, and all of them are saying no. Just I don't want to laugh, but like, it's funny, but it shouldn't be funny.
Yeah.
Eric, it's not funny, like, you know, but it was. I laughed, you know, like, is Ryan Raza? No, he's not Raza. No, like, it's just, so it is what it is. So he's already, like, started those mind games on Ryan, and I think he sees it as like Ryan is like a stone on the gauntlet. You know what I mean? And they're ready to take that stone. I think that's how, whether that's true or not, that's how they view it. And I think that's why I said earlier, like, they have something that they want from Ryan. It's not going to be his best win if he beats Ryan, like, on paper.
No,
Like, you know what I mean?
but it's a very smart move. You know, I'm not a chess player. My husband plays chess, but I don't. But I think that it's a very good chess move from what I understand chess to be. I saw him today on True Media Boxing Radio with Coach Malachi. Bill was on there. He called in, and I became more of a fan after that interview because I wasn't sure about him, but the way he spoke and the things that he said, I became more of a fan. So he's moving the right pieces for his son, in my opinion. And it's smart. It's very smart.
No. Rookie, is he gonna gain some over all of Ryan's following? Are all those teenage girls going to start following Devin Haney overnight because he beat Ryan or Garcia?
I mean, we all know the answer. The answer is no, because I mean, his fans are like TikTok people and hot girls and like young people. And I just don't think the Devin Haney experience is what like TikTokers and fashion models. But Bill is a fantastic person at switching the game up, hitting you with some verbal gymnastics. He knows how to go to each media outlet, read the person, and say what you want to hear. So he goes to 20 media outlets, and he'll give you 20 different things, all of which geared towards your content channel. And I think he's just going to antagonize Ryan however he wants. So he can say, we're going to take his fans. Ryan doesn't have credibility. I haven't heard this, but this is my guess on where Bill's going to go next. We're more Mexican than him because we started our career in Mexico. So, you know, we're actually down with Mexican people.
Well, not to cut you, he's alluded to it really strongly. I mean, he's basically saying it without saying it. When he says, Ryan's not Raza, we're the ones that fought, and we started in Tijuana. Like, I mean, what is he saying?
But you know, it's, you know, we're both Mexican, and we know what he's doing. We know what he's saying. It's like, is he going to be, you know, is he going to go down in history as one of the greatest, you know, Mexican legends?
I'll say what I'm hearing, and I'll get myself in trouble if I get myself. I think it's hood talk. It's basically saying you don't have ownership, in my opinion. And this is a white guy saying, so I'll be wrong, but it's like, are you really down with the Mexican community? Is
Is
what
he a
I'm hearing.
Chavez?
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I'll tell you what I don't like. Look, let me tell you something. If Devin Haney was a fighter in the early '90s, and his dad Bill Haney says, "Well, Chavez saying Raza," Devin Haney, he started in Tijuana. He's more Raza than Chavez.
no,
It's
that
it's
wouldn't have
it's
flown then.
it's personal now. Like, oh, what you
Yeah.
say? The fuck you talking about? Like, you're gonna bring that shit. Like Ryan doesn't even like it doesn't even. I don't think it registers. I don't think Ryan even
It
knows.
doesn't. It doesn't.
But
That's
like
what
To
I'm
him,
I'll
it's
give you
like
an
saying.
I don't know what that
example.
is. What Raza? What's Raza? I don't know what Raza is. He probably doesn't even know what Raza is.
Imagine if someone said that to Fernando Vargas, right?
Oh, it's
Like
on.
exactly. And then like with Ryan, I feel like it doesn't mean, and I think what Bill is doing when he says that is kind of like speaking to a Mexican fan base that
He's
wants to
proven a
see Ryan
point.
get mad.
He's
Yeah.
proven a point.
You
Yeah.
know what? The fact that Ryan hasn't even said, "Hey, you're calling into question what my raza is." Not that he would pronounce it that way, but my raza. But I don't think Ryan doesn't even
Ay,
know what that
hombre.
means, bro. It's just kind of like, what? Come on, bro.
Yeah.
He just wants to eat his Jolly Rancher like he did in that podcast for like 30 minutes. He was eating it's almost serious. He was eating a Jolly Rancher talking like this,
No Takis, man. No Takis.
it's
Hot
crazy.
Cheetos.
No. Jolly Rancher. Look at him. That's what he ate.
Okay.
But yeah, I think, look, Ryan is a young, and we're going to just have to get used to this. A lot of young Mexican Americans have been very Americanized, right? So I have a lot of my younger cousins don't speak Spanish. It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so
I'm very Americanized.
that's becoming a norm, right?
Sure.
But and I think Bill like kind of knows that, like in his
He
mind,
does.
Ryan ain't no like Fernando
That's
Vargas
why
or even
he's
Delaware.
smart. He's very smart. He really is. He
Like
picks that
this
up.
dude. This dude don't like he can't even spell Mexico. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's probably you know, I'm
Yeah,
just saying,
yeah.
like I don't know, like Ryan obviously is aware that he's Mexican American, but I just don't think he associates himself with it at all. So, and I think
Right.
Bill very cleverly detached any fans that, because look, I saw the Tank fight, okay, right, and I don't know, like on the lead up to the Tank fight with people I know here. There was some, Mexican fight fans that were going for Garcia because his last name's Garcia, right? And he was fighting Tank Davis. So they associated
Yeah.
themselves with Garcia, and I think he's detached Ryan from that fan base. I believe by doing so.
Yeah. Yeah. I
I
agree.
can't even get mad about the Raza thing because Ryan don't even know what like. He don't even care.
He doesn't care.
I've got a question. So
Sure,
which of the so is Keyshawn and Shakur gonna get their crack to get Ryan too? Like how many of these big name
I
fighters
think so.
are gonna end up like does Teofimo get a Ryan fight? Like how
So
many of these guys
they're
get
gonna
it?
run a train on Ryan. Is that what I'm saying? What's gonna happen?
No, that's a good question though, Lukey. It's like that's a very good question. I think it just depends on, this is so sad for me to even think this way, but it's like, how are their careers going? Because I do believe that Ryan can boost a career because of his social media following, because of his presence. So who's going to get that boost?
Mm.
And like I said, I hate to say it, it's horrible, but I think that's the only way. And and
You think
and
he'll go
money
from
talks and
fighting?
bullshit walks.
You think like right now he's fighting a world champion, but like it's sad, but he might become the stepping stone for like guys that are trying to get to the world title. Like, you know what I mean? Kind of
for
like
for the right amount of money. Yeah, it's like you're gonna have to pay the piper to get that boost. You know.
I would pick those two guys over Ryan. I would.
When that's why I was saying he might become a less accomplished, more high profile Amir Khan because the end of Amir
Yeah,
Khan's run was Amir fighting guys that were
yeah,
just better than him, but it was like, okay, this is a guy we can put in a main event, you know?
Well,
yes, absolutely.
in fairness to Amir Khan, though, and you said it, less accomplished, because Amir Khan can at least say, "I beat Marcos Maidana." I
Right.
beat Devin
Yes,
Alexander.
less
I beat,
accomplished.
like,
Yes.
I was winning the fight against Garcia until I wasn't.
But if we're going
Yeah.
to measure less accomplished, I mean, are we going to measure him as far as who he faced or social media
I
likes?
think he might
Because
become like
that's where we're at right now.
he might become
This is
the
the world we're living in.
look, he might become the highest profile like journeyman ever. Like kind of like if you want to call it that, just a journeyman fighter that has a very high profile and you get a big payday by fighting him.
I
Yeah,
think
I
he's
mean,
gonna become the pay-per-view gatekeeper. Like he's gonna usher new fighters into
mhm,
pay-per-view where they
mhm.
use his star power to be like if
I could see
Shakur
that.
fought Ryan Garcia, that would be a huge uptick to his career.
I could see that. I could see that.
I mean,
That's just where we're at right now.
this is a
2024. That's where
this
we're
is a,
at.
this is a money grab fight. Aren't they all money grabs? I mean, but yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure.
Yes and
But
no, but some are more appealing than others for the
mhm.
boxing heads. But there's two different audiences here.
Yeah,
Boxing heads and the it people, the social media people.
well, let me ask the both of you: is this fight gonna be like? Do you think it reaches close to 1 million buys? This fight? Because I don't. I don't think it does.
I personally think because of Ryan, it could be close. I do
Okay.
because of him. If it wasn't Ryan, no, and
So
it could be anybody else.
you're the belief that the Ryan played a huge role in that tank fight for all those buys.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right. Lukey.
I think 200,000, and I think it's a multifaceted issue. I
Okay.
think that the way he lost to Tank Davis upset a lot of people, and they're gonna want to wait and see before spending money. I think whether it's right or wrong, a lot of people have issues with DAZN because of bad customer service experiences. And if this is a DAZN pay-per-view, I think people are going to not be as trusting to do a DAZN pay-per-view. And I think that people also aren't going to look at the matchup and go, I wonder how it plays out. So I think it's going to have a lower buy rate just because of those three things.
Okay. No, that's a good point. Like the way he lost that fight,
Great point.
a lot of people were not happy. Like, you know what I mean? So it just is what it is.
I think I just wonder if more non-boxing fans are going to buy it because of the way that Garcia is going to sell it on his social media platforms.
Good point.
Because he does have a huge following, and that's my only. But I see Lukey's point, and I agree with him as far as the boxing side of it. But as far as the other side of it, I wonder, I think we're going to have a lot more eyes because of his social media platform.
Good point. I just want to give a shout out to those that have either liked or loved the video on Facebook. Ace TV Boxing, Michael Ramirez Sr., Sakura, shout out to her, and Sean Hicks from
Yes.
Long Live Boxing.
Yes.
Shout out
Thank
to you
you so
guys.
much.
Shout out to those listening or watching us on YouTube, whether you're listening or watching, either one. And those watching on X, aka Twitter as well. Shout out to you guys.
Chicano Prophet, you think his fame is overrated because you're not like a teenage little girl. You're not
Yeah,
like
I think
a
he's
hot
close to my
teenager
age.
or 20-year-old.
I could
That's
say this
why.
because I could say this because we're around the same age. You're old, like it is what it is.
That's
But
why.
I think at what age do you become out of touch? Like where you don't have your finger on the pulse
I
of
mean,
popular stuff.
I don't know. I think I don't know. I have no idea.
Is it like am I done? That's it. 39 years old. That's it. I don't have my
No,
finger on the pulse anymore.
I think that we can remember when we were young and hormones raging and all that stuff. So I don't know. I think that we can look back to that. Now it's not the same because we are boxing heads and we want to see good fights and the best fighting the best. But we still got to remember, yeah, that's why I also don't get Taylor Swift fame. Exactly. Exactly. I don't either. I'm not a
Yeah,
Swiftie. I'm not.
I reached the point where I'm like, I don't get it, but I don't even want to question it because I'm out of touch. Like, it
Right.
is
I
what it
mean,
is.
obviously she's doing something right. So
But I'll let her finish. But Beyonce did have one of the best videos of all time. You didn't see the Grammys?
I'm not a
You didn't
I
see
mean
when
I'm
Kanye
gonna be
interrupted her?
attacked. I'm not gonna be attacked. Oh yes, I remember that.
Yeah,
Whenever Taylor Swift won, yeah, yeah.
that's what. Yeah. So
That was like what, 10 years ago?
more or less about 10 years ago. I want to know why I don't get that thumbs up. Is what I want to know. Like
I don't
I
know
don't. I
where
don't.
the thumbs up comes from. I've seen all these thumbs up. Thank you, whoever's doing it. I appreciate you.
It's you. It's your iPhone or
No,
something. I
I
don't know.
no. It just I'm not doing this. Look, when I do it, look, it doesn't work. Somebody's doing it. I don't
Like
know who it is, but thank you.
I've heard it come up with something like the word like or good. No, like
Okay. I
I
mean,
can't, I
I'll
can't
take
figure it
it.
out.
I'll take it.
It
I'll
is what
take
it
it.
is. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
there it is. You
Look,
see,
there it is. I don't know how it
I don't
got there,
get it.
but thank you. I'll take it.
I don't understand. I don't even know where that's from. Nando, why is it a thing? Folks on the internet too much. The paranoia will destroy you. Okay. All right, got you. I think DJJ says I think promoters will always like Ryan as a default cash cow. Weisel ever politics prevents the best fighting the best.
Mhm.
Maybe it's not a fixable issue. I'll ask you all one more question, just a general question. What can the sport of boxing, if it, or do you think there'll ever be a time when the sport of boxing will return where it consistently delivers the best fight of the best? Or are we just going to have to deal with the politics as we know it in the sport today?
Lukey, you go first.
I think it's coming because I think that there's going to be a mass exodus from networks coming on boxing, and I think the only way boxing is going to exist is consolidation. So I think that that time is coming sooner. I think we're closer to that point than we have been in a long time. If you look at last year, we're seeing the great fights happening. It's just like we look at these ratings, and when the ratings and the pay-per-views flop, the only solution is better fights. So I think that within 3 to 4 years, I think we're going to see more good fights than bad fights.
Yeah. Ask the question again.
Will the sport ever return to just consistently delivering the best fighting the best, and we don't necessarily have to do these fights where, well, this guy's a big name, and so he gets first dibs, etc.
So, will it ever return? I don't think it's ever going to be the way that it was before. I think that we have to roll with the punches. I think that last year, as somebody stated, was a great year for us. We saw some of the best fighting the best. And I think that we're going to continue seeing that. But I also think that we have to conform to what it is today. I mean, social media is huge. And then there's boxing heads like us that want to see the best fighting the best. So will it ever go back to the way it was? No. I think it's going to morph, and I think eventually it's going to be better.
You know, I agree, and and look, last year was a good year. All right, so I don't want
Hmm.
to
Yeah,
before somebody jumps
was.
on me like, what do you mean? Didn't you see the fight last year? No, it was a good year. I'm not saying it wasn't. I just want to see the sport of boxing be consistent, not just 1 and 2 years.
Hmm.
Just I want it to be consistent and consistent. That's what I
Yes.
would personally like to see. One more thing, completely off topic, but somebody mentioned this the Oshaki fight. Bradley made a
Yes, I like
statement
it.
he made a statement on the ESPN broadcast, and he said he thinks that Nova could win. But nothing wrong with saying that. It's just what he said. He said Shockey might be more skilled, but I don't think he wants it more than more than Nova. I'm sure they both want it. I don't even want to make this a contest of who wants it more, but that was a hell of a statement for
It
Tim Bradley to
was.
make,
Yeah,
especially after the performance of Oshaki against Rocky Hernandez, where
absolutely.
that's the definition of wanting it. Like going out in the 12th round, you need to
Hmm.
stop it. You know you're behind. You need to go out and
Yes.
get it in a fight you're losing against a vicious
Yep.
puncher, and you were hurt the last round, and you got to go out there and get the finish, and he gets it.
Yep.
I just don't know. I just don't know. And making a statement like this guy wants it more than you. is a valid statement in my opinion. But Bradley has a right to his opinion. Obviously, he's earned it. But what are your thoughts, Christine?
Well, this is why a lot of times when I'm watching fights, I turn the volume down because these people, and you know what? I respect him and his opinion. That is fine. I don't have to agree. But they are the ones that are influencing our new eyes on boxing. The people that are starting to that have been watching boxing, they're starting to question what they think or what they see because the commentators, you know. So I didn't respect that comment at all. Like, where did it come from? You know, if you know something that nobody else knows, keep it to yourself. But where did that come from? Like, I don't see anybody right now wanting it more than Oshaki because he's been the underdog for so long and in so many fights. Like, he's proven himself time and time again. I don't know where it came from. I didn't like it at all.
Lukey, would you be comfortable making a statement like that?
Feel like I make statements like that all the time, just like uninformed and just throw things out. I mean, I think that like Tim was just saying in a way that maybe wasn't the best way to convey it. The next week's fight is a good fight because I think Shock and Nova really are deserving of a main event fight. It's a very good fight. Shock is someone that I think the world of. And Abraham Nova is a guy
Me
that I
too.
remember seeing early in his career in a Demetrius Andrade training camp
Hmm.
with Mark DeLuca, and I think that it probably came out the wrong way. Not that I have to defend Tim because Tim can defend his own words, but I think sometimes people are broadcasting for 8 hours, 7 hours, 6 hours. And I think that what he probably meant was this is a great fight that you should tune into with by contextualizing it and saying that the underdog is going to win, maybe to give people interest. Not really
Okay.
the way I'd probably go about doing it, but I think that maybe the intention was right because that fight I think is going to be a more entertaining fight than Teofimo Jermaine Ortiz. So if it gets more eyeballs on that fight, then I will be okay with what he said.
All
And
right.
I totally agree with you. I mean, maybe he didn't mean that, but it's just like when you have a platform like that, you are influencing so many, and I think that even if you have been on the broadcast, for X amount of hours, you have to be mindful of what you're saying. Um, if that's what he thought, kudos to him because I want people to be honest. Like I absolutely do. But if it was a slip up, that's I don't know. It kind of, like I said, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way personally.
No, for sure. So, look, really quick. So I just saw this boxing scene reporting. Our good friend Jamal Herring will be fighting John England in Australia. Um,
Okay.
so there you go. John England is coming off a very, very competitive fight against Liam Wilson. Will be fighting Valdez. That was a really close fight. So
That's always like my big fear is like someone I know having to fight in like a massive time zone away from where they train. Like what would
Yeah.
Christine, this I want to ask you this because I was talking about this with my girlfriend just for travel, but if you were going to fight in Australia, would you do the last 2 weeks in a Hawaii in a perfect world and then slowly adjust to Australia? Like that's a big time change jump.
No, my 2 weeks are going to be in Australia, not Hawaii.
Well, no,
Like
I guess maybe then like a month out, go to Hawaii, and then like two weeks out, go to Australia. But like, I think that it's such a big jump. I
it's a
almost would
big
want to
jump.
like acclimate halfway time.
Yeah, no,
Mm.
absolutely. Like I think you have to acclimate. Like one thing that we do, like we anytime we go anywhere, it's like no matter what time we land, we are usually it's during the daytime, whatever country we're in, you know, been up for 12 hours or whatever, we are going to do whatever everybody else is doing. We're going to train, we're going to go to breakfast or lunch, and then we're going to train. It's like immediate acclimation is so important. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, I definitely would at least be wherever I'm going to be fighting to at least, I mean, a week to 2 weeks, to acclimate.
Well, y'all do it all the
You
time,
have
right?
to.
You fly. You're gonna fly to Italy
Yeah.
soon. How
Yeah,
far
we
away is
leave
that?
Thursday. Don't ask me. I don't know. I'm gonna
You
get
know,
on the plane and go.
no,
But
no, no, no,
whenever.
no. I mean the tournament. How more or less 2 weeks, a month? How
Oh,
far
oh,
is it?
oh, oh. Okay, so we're gonna have a week and a half training camp, and then we'll
Okay.
compete. Yeah.
So I imagine in
So almost
Australia,
2 weeks. Yeah.
so Australia, I guess 2, 3 weeks or maybe more. I don't know, but
Yeah. I mean, at least 2 weeks. I
like
think a
Tim Zoo was in the
week to two
U.S.
weeks.
a couple weeks ago. So
Yeah, for sure. You have to.
yeah. So did Harrison mess up? I don't think I think he was only out there like 3 weeks or something.
I mean, I think 3 weeks is good. But
Okay.
whenever you get these last minute fights and you have like a day or two, you land and then you're fighting, yeah,
I
not
mean,
good.
like a great like Eddie Morales could probably do it. I don't know about anybody else, but I
I
mean, I'm
mean,
just
okay,
saying. No,
you
but
say so.
and look, I appreciate everybody that's tuning in. By the way, okay. Um, Christine has to do some packing. She needs to get some rest, and
I
so
do.
uh, let's just do some final thoughts really quick. Lukey, any final thoughts?
Thank you to you guys for having me on. Thank you to the boxing fans. Like literally, boxing fans are the most underappreciated fans in the world. You don't get the fights often you want, and you stick around the sport. So thank you to all the boxing fans that, despite sometimes being frustrated with the politics, tune into platforms like this and stay with the sport so the sport continues to grow, because it would be easy for the sport to die if we didn't have such great fans.
Yeah, you know what?
Absolutely.
I agree with that. Before I let Christine give the final thoughts, close us out. I've always said that boxing fans are a lot like battered wives. They just stick around and stick around and stick around despite not being appreciated and being beat down left and right. Boxing fans, anytime I see somebody say boxing fans are the worst in the world and nobody's worse than boxing fans, I always wonder to myself, do they not understand that boxing fans, like diehards of today, are the only ones that are still around? Like they've stuck around despite everything, right? Over the years, they're still around. They're still supporting the sport. They go to the fights, and I agree with Lukey. Boxing fans do deserve a shout out for sure. Although they're bozos sometimes, but that's okay.
Yep. Fotex, no, I'm not going on vacation. We are going to the second qualifiers in Italy. We have 5 qualified for the Olympics, and we are going to go and qualify the rest of the team. So that's where we're going. Um, my final words. So tomorrow I'm going to be going live at 5 Central and 6 Eastern with KJ the Great. We are going to be touching on the transgender situation with USA Boxing. I'm going to come with facts. Anybody else can come with opinions, but I will come with facts and answer all questions regarding that. So please tune in for that. And then obviously on Wednesday, Women Crushing It Wednesdays with my girls, Nika and Crystal. So please tune in for that. And thanks to the guys. Appreciate you so much, Lukey, for coming back on, putting up with me for another night. And D Style and definitely the chat. We love to love you so much.
And then she'll be leaving
On
on a jet
Thursday.
plane,
Yes.
but
Yes,
she will be
absolutely.
back again. Okay.
Absolutely.
Jamal
Yes.
Heron said he will be tuning in, Christine.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate
So there
it.
you go.
And
Well, that
I also want to say a couple of shout outs for good fighters. Charlie Sheehy got a
Love Charlie.
fantastic win this week.
He did.
Undercard fighter, did well. You guys got to understand, these undercard fighters don't make very much. They could be a janitor
Hmm.
somewhere and make as much money as they are as a pro boxer. They're following a dream. So it means a lot just to say a shout out. My guy Quentin Randall's
Absolutely.
fighting Gore.
Yes.
You're to seeing on UFC Fight Pass. Sadly, it's on you. Great platform, right? But it like a lot of hardcore fight fans were broke, so you're not
Yes.
gonna have UFC Fight Pass, but that's coming up soon. And my guy Ryan Borland is fighting Jake Paul. all blue
Nice.
collar fighters. So, shout out to,
Nice.
I just wanted to give them a shout out because guess what they're doing? They're
Thank you.
training super hard. They're making ends meet barely
Mm-hmm.
and just, spreading awareness for their fights. Tune in. Even if you don't like me, just tune into their fights because they're trying really hard right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks for
100%.
that.
I agree 100%. With that said, guys, we appreciate everybody for tuning in. This is D-Style Boxing for Lukey and for Christine. We're out. Keep it boxing. Peace.